Good morning, students. In today's session, let us look at how we could master the language of English without attending a formal English language school. To begin with, let's think how a child learns to speak English or speak a language. You would notice that a child just listens in the first few years of his life. The child is picking up all the sounds and all the words that are spoken around him. And thereafter, after a couple of years, he actually starts speaking the same language in the same way. So listening is a potent tool for us to learn a language, and therefore we need to incorporate it in our own learning process. So what do we need to listen to? We can listen to good international or national news channels in English. Apart from that, we can listen to some good podcasts, videos, and thereby when we continuously keep listening, this language will also come over to us, and we would eventually start speaking in the same way. Apart from this, when we listen, what we need to do is we need to repeat the same lines what the speaker is saying. For example, if they say in a certain tone, we need to pause there and try to repeat it in the same manner. This way we will also be able to absorb and imbibe the accent that is being spoken. Apart from listening and speaking, what we should do is we should do reading. Reading, students, is a very powerful technique because, as we know, leaders are readers. So all good leaders, they read extensively. We need to read some good international and national journals, newspaper articles, periodicals, and thereby after reading, we need to learn to even summarize it. And when we read, it's important that we read aloud, not reading in our mind, because when we read aloud, our tongue gets the habit of rolling in the right manner. Our tongue gets used to the right accents and tones. That is very important for us to read aloud. In fact, one of my students mentioned that he used to read the whole newspaper, page 1 to the last page, and he would take around 4 hours to read it. However, with practice, he gradually reduced to 1 hour. So, and thereby now today he speaks English very fluently. So after listening and reading, what we need to do is speaking. We need to summarize what we have heard, what we have read, and in our own words. We could stand in front of a mirror and speak it out, and possibly we could record our own speech and just listen how we are speaking and see where we can improve ourselves. The next step that we need to incorporate is using a dictionary. We need to keep a dictionary close by. Maybe it's an online application or an online, or just on the internet. We need to find out the difficult words that we come across. This is a very good tool to improve our vocabulary and lexical resource. And followed by this, we need to use a good grammar book, because there are some topics in the English language which are generally students are confused about. For example, the articles a and the, where to use a, where to use the, it's all very confusing at times. Besides, we also need to read chapters on tenses, which is the most important thing. Generally, students are confused about what tense to use, past, present, future, and we often see that students, they mix up all these tenses while speaking. So that is something we need to really understand what tense and have more knowledge about tenses. And the third topic in this grammar is something which is prepositions, which students are again confused about. In, on, at, by the side, under, all these things are also very confusing for students. So referring to a good grammar book, and last but not the least, we need to think in English. Listening, reading, writing, speaking, referring to a grammar book, use a dictionary, and finally we all need to think in English, because we usually speak in the language that we think. If I think in Hindi, I will more often than not speak in Hindi. So our thinking process should gradually shift from the mother tongue or the language we are more comfortable with to the English language if we want to master the language. So students, today we have seen how one can improve their English language and fluency in this language just by simple steps. But the most important thing is practice. Practice is the key, and that is the only way one can improve our communication or anything that we need to master it. Okay? So till then, keep practicing. Thank you.